This is the most difficult interview in history. The candidates were stunned as soon as they received the test paper, because the test paper was a blank sheet of paper with nothing on it. The candidates were very puzzled by this, but they didn't dare to speak, because before the exam began, the examiner announced 3 strictly forbidden rules. No talking to the examiner or the security guard. No leaving the room. No soiling the test paper. Any violation of any one of these rules would result in disqualification from the exam. And the answer to this interview was only one. Everyone fell silent after hearing that, because the first exam rule was that they must not talk to the examiner. Seeing that no one responded, the examiner started an 80-minute countdown and left the exam room. After looking at the blank test paper before them, everyone was at a loss as to what to do. They had no idea what the exam question was. It seemed that landing this position with an annual salary of $1 million was not going to be easy. As time ticked by, a woman finally couldn't take it anymore. She believed that the company intended for them to write a career report. So, without hesitation, she began writing on the paper. But before she could finish her first sentence, the examiner suddenly walked over to her. Without saying a word, he escorted her out of the exam room. It turned out she had violated the third rule by soiling the test paper. Seeing the woman eliminated for writing, everyone quickly put down their pens. Just when everyone was at a loss, a man suddenly burst into laughter. It turned out he realized that the examiner had only mentioned 3 rules. So if they didn't violate those 3 rules, everything would be fine. To test his hypothesis, he directly greeted the bearded man next to him, because the exam rules only prohibited speaking to the examiner and the security guard, and did not forbid talking to the candidates. Sure enough, the security guard on the side did not react at all. With that, the man became even bolder. Without a word, he stood up, and even began to wander around the exam room. What he did not expect was that the security guard still did not react at all. Seeing that the man's actions were permitted, everyone finally dared to speak. They started discussing why the test paper was a blank sheet. At that moment, a long-haired girl suddenly stood up. She believed that the test paper might be made of a special material. Perhaps when illuminated by light, the exam questions would appear. The others thought the long-haired girl's idea made a lot of sense, so they began to shine various light sources on the test paper, attempting to reveal the questions on the blank paper. But after a series of experiments, nothing changed on the test paper. Seeing this, the dark-skinned man suddenly thought that perhaps if the test paper was exposed to a special type of light, such as ultraviolet, infrared, or X-rays, but the room did not have any such lighting at all. Just when everyone was sinking into disappointment, the blonde girl on the side suddenly noticed that the wall of the room seemed to have emergency lights installed. Perhaps the emergency lights provided the necessary illumination for the test paper. To test her hypothesis, the man immediately smashed the lights on the wall. As darkness enveloped the room, sure enough, the emergency lights on the wall turned on. Excitedly, they quickly took out the test paper to conduct experiments. But unfortunately, the illuminated test paper still showed no changes. The bearded man believed that they might not have used the correct color. Perhaps there were other lights in the room. Sure enough, the meticulous girl with glasses suddenly discovered that another type of tube light on the wall was not lit. Realizing that this light might be what they needed, they quickly smashed all the emergency lights in the room. To their surprise, in the next second, an orange light illuminated the room. But after everyone conducted further experiments, the test paper still remained unchanged, and the exam time had dwindled to only 60 minutes. The man guessed that the test paper must have been made of a special material. So, to test his hypothesis, he picked up the test paper from the woman who had been eliminated earlier, and continuously scribbled on it with a pencil. But after a series of tests, the test questions still did not appear on the paper. However, despite that, the man still did not intend to give up. He planned to try using liquids. Then he tore the test paper into 2 parts. He gave one part to the dark-skinned man to test with saliva, and the other part to test with urine. But it turned out that the entire test paper was ruined. The test questions they desired still did not appear on the paper. At that moment, the man suddenly noticed that one man with glasses in the exam room had not yet stood up, nor had he said a single word. However, just as everyone approached him, the man with glasses uttered a baffling sentence. Little did they know, he had already revealed the method to reveal the test questions, but the others completely did not understand what he meant. At this point, the man couldn't take it anymore. He believed that the company was playing tricks on them. The reason they were attracted here for an interview with a $1 million annual salary was simply to toy with them. But the girl with glasses on the side did not think so, because she knew beforehand that this company would never engage in such trivial matters. Moreover, the company places great emphasis on efficiency. They are in urgent need of talent. So this interview was absolutely genuine, to determine the next 80 years of your lives. Recalling what the examiner had said earlier, everyone then mustered up their courage once again. Since the previous methods did not work, perhaps the secret lay with the security guard at the door. The exam rules forbade speaking to the security guard, but did not forbid touching the security guard. So, to test her hypothesis, she directly reached out her hand towards the security guard.